Hey guys, Eric with Blue Line Fishing. Welcome back to the channel. Your time's important to me as always. And what we're going to do in today's time is we're going to check out this Cadence Ideal spinning rod and reel combo. We're going to break down the reel. We're going to break down the rod, see what we think of both of those. I'll throw some line on it, take it out to the lake, and do a little testing. Stick with me. I think you'll enjoy it. So let's jump into this. This is the Cadence Ideal spinning rod and reel combo. This combo was sent to me by Cadence to check out and review, so we're going to do this thing together. And this is a 1000 series size reel and a 5'6" ultralight rod. They also offer this reel in a 2, 3, and 4000 series size, and they offer this rod up to a 7-foot size. So I'm going to take the reel off the rod now. We're going to break it down and see what we got. So let's check out the reel. This is a 1000 series size reel, and it's going to be one that I'm going to use for ultralight bass fishing. Things like throwing micro crankbaits, Ned rigs, drop shot rigs, things of that nature. You could also use it for panfish like crappie, red ear, bluegill, that type fishing, but I'm going to use it for the ultralight bass fishing. So I'll give you the juicy stats on this reel. This reel is 5.2 to 1 gear ratio. So what that means is, if you're not familiar with gear ratios, for every complete revolution of the handle, so one full turn of the handle, this bail is going to spin around this spool 5.2 times, which equates, according to the manufacturer stats on it, to about 23.6 inches per handle turn. So that's a good amount on a reel like this. I think a 5.2 to 1 gear ratio is pretty, that 5 range is pretty standard on a spinning reel. It's what you're looking for normally. The drag on it is 20 pounds. 20 pounds is quite a bit, especially for a smaller reel like this. Obviously, they're bigger series. They're 2, 3, and 4000 series have even more drag, but 20 pounds of drag for this 1000 series, not bad at all. We'll get to looking at the assembly inside here. I'm going to pop this cover off, but first we're going to talk about a couple more things on the exterior. So looking at the exterior of the reel, it's a good looking reel, and a couple things I'll kind of point out here that I do like. On the foot of the reel right here, if you look, it's vented right here. Usually done for 2 reasons. Number 1, to take weight off the reel, which I like. It makes a lighter reel, and it's aesthetically pleasing. Same is on the reel handle here. If you look right here, that is vented right there. So once again, done to take a little bit of weight off the reel, and it looks nice as well. It's got the paddle style rubber handle on it, and then the spool also, if you look right here, is vented. And once again, usually done to take a little bit of weight off the reel. And speaking of weight, I'm going to put it on some digital scales, and we'll check out the weight on it here in just a second as well. One other thing I look at when I'm looking at any reel is, does it have a true anti-reverse? And this reel here, what I mean by that is, when you're turning this handle, when you stop, does it come to a dead stop? Because some reels will have a little bit of back play in it, just a teeny bit, and even a teeny bit can cost you hook sets and can cost you fish. You just don't want any back play in that handle. And when I turn this one here, and I'll stop it, I will have to say it comes to an absolute dead stop. There is zero, I'll push it back, there is zero back play in this handle, which is a really good thing, whether it's a spinning reel, a bait casting reel, it doesn't matter, you just don't want back play in that handle. Next thing we'll look at, always look at oscillation in a spinning reel. So in other words, how much wobble does it have? Whether it's on the rod or like this, I'm holding it in my hand. When you really get to turning it and let it free spin, how much does it shake back and forth? And I'll say this reel here, spin it again, has very little oscillation, and that's a good thing, because I think when that reel's wobbling like that, 1, it's a control issue, but 2, it seems like spinning reels that have a lot of oscillation to them, you tend to get a lot of line loop, and you get a lot of line twist. This reel does not have that, and it's a really, really good thing to see. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pop this spool off here. If you've never done this or not familiar with it, all you're going to do this little spool cap right here. You're going to turn it counterclockwise or to the left, loosen it up till that spool cap comes off, and we can take the whole spool assembly off. That's also the way you would tighten or decrease the drag on it. So left is going to decrease the drag, right is going to increase the drag. And you can hear too, if you listen, it has an audible click on the drag, which I like that feature, because when you're out there in the water fishing, you don't have to kind of just do it by feel. You can, if you want it up 2 or 3 clicks, you can just hear it, and you don't have to actually look down at the reel to see how far you're turning it or kind of guessing at it. 2 or 3 or 4 clicks up or down is probably what you want at that time, and it's easy to do it with that audible feature. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take this spool cap off, and that way we can take the spool off here. So we're just going to turn this to the left here, and until it gets nice and loose. Let's see if we got it loose enough. We do. The whole spool is going to come off. I'll set the body down here and we'll check it out. So first thing, the spool cap right here. Give you an up close look at that. It does have a metal insert on the spool cap. The exterior is plastic, but it feels like a dense plastic on it. A solid plastic, not real cheap feeling like some of the reels that I review here on the channel. This feels pretty solid. Next is the spool here, and it is an aluminum spool, not a plastic spool, which I do like the aluminum a lot. I like the metal spools a lot better than the plastic. It has a braid ready spool here, these little grooves in it, so that way you can cinch down your braid. You don't get any slippage if you like to use braid. And the interior right here is metal, as well as obviously the whole assembly is metal, but all the parts in here are metal. I don't see any plastic in there, and that's a good thing because metal on plastic never works out that way, but this is metal on metal assembly. I'll also show you the interior here. You can see the gearing right here, or this gear that comes up on the spool spindle. And what I like to see about it, it is also metal, because you'll see a lot of these in the lower price spinning reels, they're plastic, and once again, plastic on metal just never is that durable. It doesn't last that long. But in this one here, you've got metal on metal assembly. Now the reassembly on this is very easy. You're just going to take your spool, put it back down on the spool spindle there, kind of turn it until it'll slide down on there. You can see the top of the spindle sticking out there that's threaded. Make sure that's on there. Take your spool cap, and this time we're just going to turn it to the right or clockwise and get it all tightened up. Now one thing I didn't mention yet on this reel is the bearing count. It is 10 bearings plus 1 bell bearing, so 11 bearings altogether. That's a high bearing count for a spinning reel, which I like to see, because usually, you know, it's not always indicative of how smooth the reel is going to be, but it's usually a good indicator a lot of times as far as bearing count goes. So pretty high bearing count on this reel, 11 altogether. I can tell you the reel itself feels very smooth. It's not noisy, doesn't feel clunky. So I'm going to be excited in a little bit here to get this thing out of the water, see how it casts, and see how it does. So this reel is set up right now to be a right-handed reel. So it's got the handle on the left side of the reel, but you know, on most spinning reels, you can pop this cap off here, which I'm going to do, and you can switch it over and make it a right-handed reel. So all you're going to do is turn this little cap here counterclockwise, you know, lefty-loosey. Takes a little bit because it's a threaded cap on there, so usually it takes it's a little longer, takes a little bit to get it out. And we're going to be able to switch this reel handle over and get a look at the other side to see if the gearing on it, the little gear that's usually in there, is metal or plastic. So little threaded cap right there, and then we're going to take the handle off here, and you can see right there that the gearing on it right there, that gear is metal, so not plastic. Once again, it's going to be metal on metal. We'll look down in here. There's the inside right there. So that's what I like to see once again, is that metal on metal. So solid construction on it. So this reel weighs 7.2 ounces. The manufacturer stated it weighed 7 ounces, so they're pretty much spot on. But the weight on this reel, 7.2 ounces. So that is a look at the reel itself. I'm going to put some line on it here in a few minutes and we'll get it out to the lake. But before we do that, let's take a look at the rod. So now let's check out the rod. This is the Cadence Essence rod. This particular model is 5 foot 6 inches. It's an ultralight rod for ultralight applications. They make them up to a 7 foot rod, medium heavy, so all different kinds of applications in the Essence series by Cadence. But with that being said, let's take a closer look at it. So we'll start from the top down. There's 6 guides on this rod right here. You know, I usually like to see a high guide count because I think a higher guide count is a good thing for 2 reasons. Number 1, I think it helps tame a lot of the, especially on a spinning rod, a lot of that twist and line loop as it comes off. The more guide you have helps tame that line. And number 2, obviously, the more line you have in contact with the guides, usually the more sensitivity and control you're going to have with that rod. But these guides here they feel nice and smooth. They're SIC inserts in the guides. Give you kind of a closer look at the bottom guide right there. It is a 2-piece rod. I'll take the top part off of this. So if you want it smaller for transport, or you need that smaller, you know, footprint or space, this is a 2-piece rod, and you can take it apart for transport. I probably won't do that. I'll just put it together and leave it as is. As we go down the rod though and get towards the handle assembly, there's some things that I really like about it. Number 1, if you can see right here, is the lure keeper that's on it. It's on the top of the rod. You'll see a lot of rods, they'll put them on the bottom, they'll put them on the side, and sometimes that has a tendency when that line's coming off there, firing off that reel, it'll hook onto that keeper. I've had some rods that have done that, super annoying. Another thing I don't like the Lose series, and I do love the Lose rods and reels, but they put the lure keeper down on, it's a split handle design, and they'll put that lure keeper down here, and I just think it gets in the way. I think it's a terrible location for a hook keeper. This one's on top. That's kind of unique to see. I really like that. As we go down the handle assembly here, the first thing that strikes me that I really like, if you look right here, the cap here on the reel seat, that the threaded cap is, it looks like it's machined aluminum. That's the way it looks and feels. It's knurled aluminum right here, and nice solid assembly. So it's not plastic. You know, 9 times out of 10 on any really bait casting reel or spinning reel, it's a plastic cap on there. This is a really lightweight machined aluminum. So next we'll get down here to the reel seat, and one thing I like about this too is it's an exposed blank. It's not the true blank coming through there, but it's like a carbon fiber section right there. Kind of see if you can get a better look at that. And what I like about that is, instead of having a plastic housing over it or some other type of housing over it, you're laying your thumb or your hand directly on that carbon fiber section. I think it'll be for a lot more sensitivity. We'll see when we get out to the lake, but that's how it strikes me, and I really like that exposed assembly right here, kind of skeletized, if you will. Looks like it's going to have a lot more sensitivity to it. The overall weight of this reel too, before we talk a little more about the handle while I'm thinking about it, the weight on this is 3.6 ounces. I weighed it on some digital scales just to check that out. So a super lightweight rod. Obviously it's an ultralight rod, so it should be super lightweight because it's not as big as some of your other outfits, but 3.6 ounces on this rod. And as we go a little further down on the reel handle itself is a cork handle. I really like cork handles. The majority of the rods I have, whether it's casting or spinning or cork, I think they're more sensitive and they clean up a lot easier than a lot of the other handles do. I actually have a video. I can show you guys how to clean these cork handles in less than 2 minutes and make any cork handle, no matter how nasty or grimy, grubby it is, look brand new. I'll leave a link to that down in the description. But anyway, I like the cork handles. They clean up easy. They've got a nice feel to them, especially when they're wet, and like I say, a lot more sensitive. And then it's got a good looking, see if I can flip this around here, good looking butt cap on the end of the handle assembly. Overall, a very not only nice looking rod, but a great feeling rod. Like, it's got a great hand feel to it. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take the reel, throw it back on the rod here, put some line on it. We're going to take this whole shooting match out to the lake and see how it performs. Okay guys, here we are out at the lake. As you can see, I've been fishing with this now for probably about 25-30 minutes. Caught some small bass and a bluegill on it just to see how it would do. I have to say the casting performance on it is smooth. It gets long, accurate casts with this setup. Really like it, but I'll throw this bait right here. Just a little curl tail grub with a 1/32 ounce head on it. Just a small, lightweight bait. Does really well with it. See, the casting distance on that is good, and also on the retrieve, it's a smooth retrieve. No problems or issues with any kind of line twist or line loop or anything like that. I ended up putting 6-pound Seaguar fluorocarbon on this, so that's the setup as far as that goes. We'll try throwing a micro crankbait on here and seeing how that does. So guys, I've been playing around for a little bit, throwing this little micro trap, this little micro rattle trap. It's an 1/8 of an ounce, and man, I'll tell you what, the casting distance on it, hopefully you can see that there, really out there. Does a great job. It's going to have whatever you need as far as if you're throwing these micro crankbaits or a Ned rig, whatever the case may be. I think this setup is going to do what you need it to do, but been very pleased on the casting distance and how smooth it is on the retrieve. So final thoughts on this Cadence spinning reel. I'm going to get this out of the way first. Yes, they sent it to me for free, but I've been lucky enough to have been sent a number of other products over the years, rods, reels, and other gear. I never let that influence how I do a review, whether it's good or bad. I used to do a series called Gem or Junk, and I think this one is a gem. The reel's 36 bucks, the rod's about $60, $61, so under $100 for the combo. I think they've got one now that's a combo as far as a 3000 series reel and a 7-foot rod, which would be perfect size for bass fishing as well, for about $56, $57, somewhere in there. Anyway, I'll leave a link down below if you want to check out Cadence's other rods and reels, or this one in particular. I'll also leave a link down in the description for some other product discounts that I have for you guys. If you got something out of today's video, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out. And remember, until that next video,
Get out there and fish.